ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Straight Shooting Sports Talk. I'm your host, Dujane Bland, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the 49ers and this quarterback switch. They're going from Blaine Gabbert to Colin Kaepernick, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the Miami Dolphins. As you know, I live here in Florida, and with all that talent, once again, Miami finds a way to stink up the joint. Let's get into this Colin Kaepernick situation. And as we all know, the beginning of the season, there was this talk of, him having that surgery and having a dead arm. And, you can tell he definitely looks different. He's lost some weight for sure. He's not the same guy he was when he had those playoffs runs and having his team in the Super Bowl. At least we not forget that. This guy has every ability to lead this team. And if you thought when Chip Kelly was getting there that this will be a great move for the 49ers, being that Chip Kelly does have that type of offense that seems to fit Colin Kaepernick. Well, here it is. He was announced the starter going into this sixth week, and that's what Colin had to say about it. So that was Colin Kaepernick on his return to the field. Yes, he's smaller, but I mean, come on. Did anybody watch the preseason game that he was in? The last preseason game, I guess. Guy showed his butt off, regardless of how small he is. And he is, from his previous physique. This guy can still play football. Now, let's look at those of you who may think that Blaine Williamson Gabbert is being treated unfairly in this. Let's first look at the record, and his record overall in his career is 9-31. Yes, 9-31. That is way below 500. He is also 1-4 on the season. His quarterback completion percentage, 58%. He only has 890 yards total of passing in 5 games. Only 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Yeah, don't want your touchdowns to interception ratio to be that lopsided. You want to have more touchdowns than interceptions. Now, let's not forget that this guy has the ability. He doesn't look that fast, and he's not, it could be deceptively fast, I guess. But he has run the ball in. I believe it's about 120 yards, 172 yards, something like that, 2 touchdowns. That's nice and all, but let's just say that the defense overall has carried this football team. And when you look at the San Francisco 49ers, they are 31st in total yards. Not good. Not good at all. Okay, 18th in points scored by the team. Look, this team needs a spark, and with the division, with it being 1-4 in this division, and to be quite honest with you, the division is quite tight. And I'm not saying that they have an opportunity to win the division or anything, especially with the injuries that they have suffered. But they still have an opportunity. I mean, you look at the other guys in the division. Seahawks 3-1. They don't look like world beaters. The Rams are 3-2, and I don't know. Despite Jeff Fisher, these guys are 3-2, and second in the division. The Cardinals 2-3. Boy, we got duped on that one. I mean, they don't look like anything like what they once were last year. Defense is atrocious, giving up big plays, and boy, what happened to Carson Palmer? I have the slightest idea, but he's not the same guy. So the 49ers need a spark here. And 5 games in, I think we've seen enough tape. I think there's enough tape out there on Blaine Gabbert, first off. And second of all, I think we've seen enough from this team or from Blaine Gabbert in this offense. And at times, you can look at the first half of that Dallas Cowboys game. He lit it up, and people were wondering, as myself, were wondering who actually was in that jersey, who was out there wearing Blaine Gabbert's jersey, because he was lighting it up. He was lighting it up big time. And then the wheels fell off. And they didn't win the football game. And quite frankly, they have an opportunity to fight and make it look decent and maybe win 50% of their games. Uh, and second, I mean, Chip Kelly has to find out what he has in Cullen and whether he is the future and the guy who is going to be the one that leads this franchise, or will this be an opportunity to where we're going to see what we have and say, hey, I need to move on and get another quarterback that fits my system? So this is going to be a very, very interesting matchup. Uh, and he's going to come in at the right time, try to generate some wins for this football club who's desperately in need of it. With that 1-4 record, it's not a good look. It's not a good look right now, and they're going to be facing the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Tough matchup to a degree, but I do like their chances. And if Cullen can be at least half of what he once was in this first game, the 49ers have a shot. And basically, it's just about not going 3-and-out, moving the football, which is something they've had a horrible time doing on offense. I believe this offense averages about 4.5 yards per play. Not good enough, as you know. 4.5 yards plus 4.5 yards, or whatever the case may be, in 3 downs. If you're not getting a lot of yards, that equals to about a 3-and-out. So on a regular, if you're not getting it done. So they need some help in that department, and we're going to see if Cullen can get that done. Now, moving on to the Miami Dolphins. Miami, always at the forefront of talk here in Florida. With the moves that they have made in the past, you would think that this team would be in better position than what they are right now. Now, in week 1, they lost the game by 2. It looked respectable against the Patriots late. The Browns, they were able to beat. They got skunked and just outmanned by Cincinnati. The offensive line looked like a revolving door, and the Titans this past week put 30 on them as well. They were only able to score 17 points in that ball game, and it's really a shame. And I just don't understand how a ball club that has so much talent. You look at the roster of receivers, Kenny Stills. You have Jarvis Landry, Devon Parker. I mean, that alone in itself, Jordan Cameron at the tight end position. That alone in itself is a great group of receivers. And I understand what you're saying. Tannehill's got to have time, right? He's got 17 sacks on the year. He's been sacked 17 times. That's one too many times. And we saw it in the Cincinnati game. If you had an opportunity to see that Thursday night game, he got pummeled back there. It was a meeting at the quarterback let's see who can get there first. And at times, it almost looked like his offensive lineman just sidestepped and was like, go right ahead. Here you go. But let the truth be told here. If you look at a guy such as Andrew Luck there in Indy, his offensive line isn't great either. Suffering some of the same problems uh, with having consistency. But this guy finds a way to make plays. And when you look at Ryan Tannehill, when faced pressure, he shrinks back. He either finds a way to give it away or takes a sack. Now, he has 7 interceptions on the year, 6 touchdowns. That's not good. That's not good at all. Now, as we mentioned with Andrew Luck here, this guy's basically faced the same amount of pressure here. Now, he has 3 interceptions on the year and 10 touchdowns. So what does that tell you? Now, I'm not even going to make the argument that, okay, he has a little bit more talent over there than Ryan Tannehill does. Because basically they have the same, I think it's the same. I think it's a same across the board. And we have to find, and he has to find a way to make plays for his offense. I mean, you can't keep making excuses. Now, Andrew Luck has been sacked 20 times this year. 20 times this year, and yet his offense ranks 14th or 15th in the league. 7th in points scored by the team. So that should tell you something. I will say this, though. Miami hasn't done enough to help Tannehill either. Offensive lines do make a difference. Running games do make a difference. They're not running the ball very effectively. And when you don't run the ball effectively, it makes you one-dimensional. It makes you predictable. And when you're predictable, defenses know exactly what you're going to do. They pin their ears back and they come after the quarterback because they don't respect your run. Now, let's not get it twisted. They do have offensive weapons to the galore, and we talked about that. But what they have to do is if you can't protect in an 8-step, 10-step drop, 8-step drop, whatever, then you need to go to a 5-step, 3-step. You need to get the ball out of his hands a lot quicker. Allow your playmakers to make plays. And you have to do some things to generate a running game, such as bubble screens, pitches to the left or the right. But you got to do something to generate some kind of makeshift running game if you're going to struggle in that department. And you say the defense isn't good. Well, the defense isn't good. Now, they've got some injuries, but their defense isn't good because they're spending too much time on the field. Now, I don't know whether this is an organizational problem, but this is a recurring problem for this organization, and it seems to start at the top. You look at the moves that they made recently, and they went and got some cornerback that was released by Carolina that didn't do very well. So you think they get some offensive line help? No. But they've got to do better. And sadly, their next opponent is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not a good look. But we'll see how it goes for the rest of the season. Could be last year for Tannehill. Well, we thank you so much for listening to this show. Again, you can get at us on Twitter. NotBland21 is where you can get at me. We have the email address at straightshootingst@gmail.com. And as always, check out my work at sportsjourney.com. You can check out my work there. All right? You guys have a good night.